morning, afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zachary Nolan. Nolan is not behind the camera because I just wanted to get this video. There's nothing to really edit for this video, but the Winnipeg Jets don't think they can re-sign Connor Hellebuyck. And he only has 1 to 2 years left here, maximum. This is a situation that none of us wanted to be in. This was a situation, however, that was honestly pretty inevitable. The Winnipeg Jets, by the end of this offseason, I expect trades to be made. The question is will Connor Hellebuyck be one of those trades? It's definitely in the cards, and it's looking more and more likely. This is beginning to remind me of the Patrick Laine saga, where we heard these trades, and we all just sat back and went, it's not going to happen. No way they're going to trade Laine. No way they're going to trade Hellebuyck. They'll have to, if they want to return for Connor Hellebuyck. And fun fact, Connor Hellebuyck will get you the highest return of anybody on the market. So, let's not talk about if. Let's talk about who. There's a lot of suitors out there. We put some in our thumbnail, but there's other ones too. Apparently the Penguins have called, and Penguins are curious to make a move about Connor Hellebuyck. Even the Senators as a possibility as well. I don't know if I see the I don't know if I see the angle there. The Penguins, I think, are the least likely opportunity for Connor Hellebuyck because the window is so narrow that I don't even think Connor Hellebuyck would want to be traded to the Penguins. And I think to an extent you want to be somewhat flexible with honoring where he wants to go to an extent if a trade option is put on the table. At the end of the day, he doesn't get a say in that. You have the say at the last minute, but still. Let's go over the team options. The New Jersey Devils could be a definite suitor. They're having to make a lot of roster decisions. They have to focus on re-signing Jesper Bratt, and Erik Haula wants to stay a New Jersey Devil. They could definitely be open to a goaltending upgrade. Right now, they have the tandem of Vanecek and Blackwood, and if a trade like this is going to go through, there's a couple things that the Jets would need. Obviously, a first-round pick is in the mix. If for any of these trades, a first-round pick is almost a must. A first and a mid-round pick, being a first and a third, I think have to be attached to that because the price tag on Connor Hellebuyck, he's the best goalie on the market in a long time. You talk about guys, about how certain goalies got moved around at the deadline in the past, and Connor Hellebuyck's name would stick out like a sore thumb above any other. Honestly, Alexander Holtz would be a guy that I would want from the New Jersey Devils in that package. He's the main prospect that you want out of that. Obviously, Jesper Bratt I don't think is in the cards at all. However, it is funny to annoy a couple Devils fans saying that, well, you can't get his contract signed, so what's going to happen there? I expect him to re-sign there. But nonetheless, obviously, Vitek Vanecek would be the goalie coming back the other way. I don't think we would settle for Mackenzie Blackwood, and I don't think Mackenzie Blackwood wants to come up here. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Vitek Vanecek wants to get traded either, but he might not have a choice. Again, we saw it in the postseason. The New Jersey Devils goaltending collapsed. Do you know who else's goaltending collapsed in the postseason? The Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers are a team that could look to trade for Connor Hellebuyck for sure. There's some prospects there. Honestly, I think what values more is the first-round pick than the prospects because I don't know what prospect sticks out to me. However, going back the other way, would it be Jack Campbell or Stuart Skinner? I want to say Stuart Skinner. It'd probably be Jack Campbell, which would suck because I don't see much value in Jack Campbell. I know the Oilers don't see value in Jack Campbell because they signed him and then put him as a backup goalie. But the main prize would be some of their prospects, some of their draft picks, possibly a lot of their draft picks. And just working through that, the Oilers definitely would want Connor Hellebuyck because he would give a goaltending stability. If they run a two-goalie scheme, they could technically possibly have Skinner and Hellebuyck or Hellebuyck and Campbell. I would love Stuart Skinner to be a Winnipeg Jet. I think Stuart Skinner is great. However, obviously he's no Connor Hellebuyck, but if we're at the point now where we're putting these possible these theories out into the world and seeing what we can do with them. The Toronto Maple Leafs are on the list of teams that would be interested in Connor Hellebuyck. Don't see it. Don't see it. I don't think unless they move a lot of things around, like, it's true. They do have openings, and I don't know if Matt Murray will ever be healthy again. And Samsonov could be re-signed for cheap, and you could have a 2-goalie tandem there. It would kill me inside to see Connor Hellebuyck in a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey, but I don't know the cards are right here. I don't think they have enough to send the other way to the Winnipeg Jets. Like, if you're sending stuff to the Winnipeg Jets, you're sending a first, you're sending Matthew Nyes, you're sending a lot to the Winnipeg Jets. And after the trades they've made, I don't know if they have enough to give. Like, maybe 2 firsts, because Toronto gives away first because they don't really care about their first because the window is still now. But still, you never know. I don't see the value there. The LA Kings are a team that interests me because the LA Kings have a lot of prospects, and they seem to be on the verge of making that next step. And Connor Hellebuyck could give them goaltending stability in that role. Right now, they're running Phoenix Copley and Jonas Korpisalo, and that is a tandem that there's a lot of instability to that tandem. Both goalies have been number 1 goalies in the past. However, they both have had dips and valleys, peaks and valleys in their time in between the pipes. And while Connor Hellebuyck has had valleys, yes, his valleys have been higher than some people's peaks, honestly. His worst year, I would say, is probably, other than his rookie year, the 2019 campaign, analytically was probably his worst year as a goaltender. And it still got them into the first round. It got them second in the Central comfortably, making the playoffs. So it's fair to mention that I think the LA Kings could easily make the playoffs with Connor Hellebuyck, even if Connor Hellebuyck isn't playing well. Who would I want the other way? I'd want a first-round pick. I'd want a mid-round pick. I'd want a prospect with minimal value. I'd also see Turcotte, you see Kaliev, you see a guy like Byfield, and there's one other one that I know I'm forgetting who they told him they wouldn't trade. One of those guys, something has to budge on that. The one I'm looking forward to the most, though, and the trade that secretly I think is the sleeper for Connor Hellebuyck, is the Buffalo Sabres. And I know what you're saying. Zach, the Buffalo Sabres? That makes no sense. Yes, it does. It does. Hear me out. The Buffalo Sabres have a blossoming prospect in Dylan Levi, who is the goalie of the future. Craig Anderson is retiring, and since then, they've kind of struggled to find the next goalie that they've wanted, because Craig Anderson wasn't really it. He was just kind of a stopgap, and it seems like they found it in Devin Levi. But, hear me out. What if he's not ready? What if, like Carter Hart in Philadelphia, he takes a step back? Well, the Buffalo Sabres were 1 game away from making the playoffs last year. 1 game away. And possibly, if they got Devin Levi in earlier, he possibly could have saved their season. What about a tandem of Levi and Hellebuyck? That gets you over the hump. You get your blossoming young hot goalie prospect, and you get the goalie of the goalie who's been there and done that and knows how to get a team to the playoffs. Because the problem with Connor Hellebuyck on the Jets, if Connor Hellebuyck was to stay with the Winnipeg Jets, is he'll win you too many games. He won't put you in a position for good draft capital. He'll get you to the 9th place in the West. He'll carry this team through mud, through hell, to get them to the playoffs when they're not a team that's going to do anything there. And you need that on the Buffalo Sabres. However, what's it going to cost you? It's going to cost you quite a bit. A first-round pick, which could be a little bit unnerving. It could cost you a mid to good prospect, which I think it kind of has to because, again, franchise goalie. I think it costs you possibly a 2nd-round pick next year instead of a 3rd-round pick. And who's the goalie going back the other way? No, it's not Eric Comrie. It's Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is a stopgap goalie that the Jets can use for a couple years while they rework who they have in the where they have in the system and the hierarchy of it. Because right now the Jets system, I'm going to give you the Jets, shall we say, ranking of their goalie prospects. Dominic DiVincentis is not first, only because he's still super young and they don't want to rush him to the show. So it goes as follows. Arvid Holm, I don't know why the only reason he's above Oskari Salminen is because the organization likes him more, seems to like him more. That's why he's always the goalie that is getting brought up when they need a spare. They bring up Holm above Salminen. Riddick will be gone. It'll go Arvid Holm, Oskari Salminen, Dominic DiVincentis, and then it would be Evan Cormier below that. And Evan Cormier, I don't see being brought up. And that gives you a pretty good, and also, honestly, you could throw Mikhail Burden in somewhere after DiVincentis. I don't see a high likelihood of him coming over to North America again for a while. But by putting in Pekka Luukkonen, you have a goalie who is decent. He'll make sure the team is fine. He won't carry this team farther than it has to go. And that will also be a learning experience for the Winnipeg Jets where they learn what do they honestly have with the core and how many games can they honestly win. Because next year is going to be a lesson. Next year is going to be a lesson learned to this group on what is their team really made of when Hellebuyck isn't playing God mode. And I feel like that's a lesson that, unfortunately, we need to learn. And again, I hate having to move Connor Hellebuyck, but it's inevitable. If you want to get any capital for him, you have to make the move. So let me know down below, guys. Where do you think Connor Hellebuyck will be traded to? Do you think we trade him at all? Let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.